Yes.
We'll start in few minutes. In the meantime, if you have any query, you can just type it in the chat box. I'll answer in the last part of the session. I'll be covering one use case on Hyperledger Fabric, which is phishing industry. And then I'll show you some industrial use cases on Hyperledger and R3 Quad. And I'll also show you the NPCI proposal for you. Basically, it's where we use UPI. So they have also created a proposal for UPI blockchain. You will see that as well, what Indian government is doing. And then I'll answer the questions asked by you guys. Okay, great. I will start the session and let others join. We'll share the recording with them later. So in this session, we'll be discussing one case study by Hyperledger Fabric in fishing industry. So blockchain can be used in various industries. One of the major application is in supply chain. And we'll be discussing one use case on Hyperledger Fabric. So let's try to understand what Hyperledger Hyperledger Fabric is basically one of the enterprise blockchain frameworks. It comes under Hyperledger comes under Linux Foundation, and there are frameworks like Hyperledger Sawtooth, Hyperledger Iroha, Hyperledger Indy, and Hyperledger Fabric is backed by IBM and various other companies, and it is one of the best frameworks which is available in the market today. So we'll see a case study on fishing industry on Hyperledger Fabric. So we'll define our actors. So basically first is Sarah, then there's a regulator, Mariam, Carl, and we'll be using Hyperledger Fabric to see an example of tuna fishing. So Sarah is a fisherman who sustainably and legally catches tuna. Then we have regulators who verify that the tuna has been legally and sustainably caught. And then we have Mariam, who is a restaurant owner, and Carl is also another restaurant owner. So using Hyperledger Fabric, we'll be demonstrating how tuna fishing can be improved, starting from the source, fisherman Sarah, and processing, and the process by which she sells her tuna to Mariam's restaurant. So we need to define the channel, chain code, ledger, network, and all other parameters. So we'll see one by one. So first is the channels. I'll just summarize again. So basically, Sarah is a fisherman. Then we have regulator in between, and the Carl and Mariam, both of them are the restaurant owners. So whom Sarah basically sells fish, and in this case, we'll be selling tuna fish. So we need to define channels. So channels are the data partitioning mechanism that allow transaction visibility for stakeholders only. Each channel is an independent chain of transaction blocks containing only transaction for particular channel. For example, Sarah wants to sell fish to Miriam, then they have to form a channel. Okay, so we have to form a channel for doing transactions. And when it comes to Hyperledger Fabric, we call the smart contract as a chain code. So the chain code encapsulates both the asset definition and the business logic for modifying those assets. So basically all those business logic which is there, like say doing the transaction, buying and selling, all the rules for that will be written in that chain code, which is a smart contract for Hyperledger Fabric. And transaction invocates result in changes to the ledgers. So all those business logic or anything which rules we write on chain code will reflect that in the ledger. So the ledger contains the current world state of the network and a chain of transaction invocation. A shared permission ledger is an append-only system of records and serves as a single source of truth. So basically, all those transactions will keep on that ledger. Whatever the modification will happen, and then there's a network. Is the collection of data processing peers that form a blockchain network. So all those participants, they will form a network, and that's what we call it, a network. A network is responsible for maintaining a consistently replicated ledger. It will make sure that all the participants, they are able to process transactions properly, and everyone is doing wallet transactions. Then we have this the ordering service. Ordering service is a collection of nodes that orders transaction into a block. Then we have the world state reflects the current data about all the assets in the network, and this data is stored in a database for efficient access. Currently supported databases are LevelDB and CouchDB. So these are the two databases which we use, and there's a world world state, and then we have membership service provider MSP, which manages identity and permissioned access for clients and peers. So these are all the feature elements for Hyperledger Fabric, like ordering service, world state, and MSP, chain code, ledger, network, and channel. So these are the basic. If you have studied enterprise blockchain, so these are the basic feature elements. And we have our actors, which is basically Sarah, the regulators, Miriam and Carl. Sarah is the fisherman. We have regulator, and then we have Miriam and Carl as restaurant owner. So these are the actors, and then these are the feature elements. So I think there's no, there should be no query till now. Now let's understand the process. So how that catch will happen. So after each catch, Sarah records information about each individual tuna, including a unique number ID, the location, the time of catch, its weight, the vessel type, and who caught the fish. So all those parameters Sarah records, okay. And for the sake of simplicity, we have only taken the 6 attributes. So as you can see in the blue text, we have this ID holder. So this is basically all the parameters. So we have only kept it only 6 attributes, but we can add other parameters like toxicity, physical characteristics, and etc. So all those parameters we can add if we want them, and these details are saved in the world state as a key value pair based on the specification of a chain code contract. So basically, chain code contract is nothing but a smart contract for Hyperledger Fabric. So we have written that business logic and whatever the rules we needed for doing that transaction in that chain code contract, and this record of new, whenever we catch a new fish, that is updated on the world state as a key value pair. Okay, allowing Sarah's application to effectively create a transaction on the ledger. You can see the example below. So this is how that we store that data in the database. So then the incentive. So Miriam is a restaurant owner looking to source low cost yet high quality tuna that has been responsibly caught. So basically, Miriam is the consumer and Sarah is the provider or the supplier of the tuna fish. And whenever Miriam buys tuna, she is always uncertain whether she can trust that the tuna is purchasing, she is purchasing is legally and sustainably caught. given the prominence of illegal and unreported tuna fishing. So she wants to make sure that the tuna which she is buying is catch from the genuine source and it is legally caught. And at the same time, as a legitimate and experienced fisherman, Sarah strives to make a living selling her tuna at a reasonable price. She will also like autonomy over who she sells to and at what price. So even Sarah wants to know that as well. Like she wants the autonomy about the pricing, so that whenever she is negotiating with the buyers, she can have that autonomy. So luckily for Sarah and Miriam, we can use this hyperledger fabric. So how that sell happens? So normally, Sarah sells a tuna to restaurant owners such as Carl for $80 per pound. However, Sarah agrees to give Mariam a special price of $50 per pound of tuna rather than her usual rate. So Sarah wants to sell at a two different price to different owners. So in a traditional public blockchain, once Sarah and Miriam have completed their transaction, the entire network is able to see the details of the agreement, especially the fact that Sarah gave Miriam a special discount. So if you use a public blockchain like Ethereum, or there everyone will be able to see that transaction and all the smart contract details. But in Hyperledger is an enterprise blockchain and it doesn't disclose the data is not in public domain. So that's why there's a confidentiality required, and Hyperledger provides you that. So that's for how it differentiates from this public blockchains like Ethereum, Bitcoin. So as you can imagine, having other restaurant owners such as Carl aware of this deal is not an economically advantageous for Sarah. To remedy this, Sarah wants the specifics of her deal to not be able to everyone on the network, but still have every actor in the network be able to view the details of the fishing she is selling. Uh, Details of the fish she is selling. Using Hyperledger Fabric's features of channels, Sarah can privately agree on the terms of Mariam. So by using the channels, Sarah can make a private agreement with Mariam such that only two of them can see them without anyone else knowing the specifics. So during this complete process, Sarah can create separate channels. So this is how it will happen. So Sarah created one channel with Mariam and another with Carl, which is another restaurant owner. So, additionally, other fishermen who are not part of Sarah and Maria's transaction will not see this transaction on their ledger. So, this is a confidential transaction. This ensures that another fisherman cannot undercut the bid by having information about the prices that Sarah is charging different restaurant owners. Then regulators. So, regulator will also be part of the network. So, regulators will gain entry regulators will also gain entry to this Hyperledger Fabric blockchain network to confirm, verify, and view details from the ledger. So their application will allow these actors to query the ledger and see the details of each of the Sarah's catches to confirm that she is legally catching the fish. Regulators only need to have query access and not need to add any entries to the ledger. So the regulators will only be there as a spectator. They will not, do any entry in the database. They will only check and verify whether this is a legitimate transaction or not, or whether the person is catching the legitimate fish. So with that being said, they may be able to adjust who can gain entry to the network and or be able to remove fishermen from the network if found to be partaking in illegal activities. And they'll also have one more power is basically they can add or remove anyone from in the network. So that's where these regulators will come, and they'll not do any entry. They'll only be there as a spectator. So it will be like a referee for in a football match. Like they don't participate, but they make sure that all the foot players are following rules of the network of that game. So like a football referee. So regulator. So gaining network membership. Hyperledger Fabric is a permissioned network, meaning that only participants who have been approved can gain entry to the network. To handle network membership and identity, Membership service providers manage user IDs and authenticate all the participants in the network. A Hyperledger Fabric blockchain can be governed by one or more MSPs. So there can be one or more MSPs who are making sure that only legitimate people are getting access to the network. And this provides modularity of membership operations and interoperability across different membership standards and architecture. And you can also have different tiers of membership, and all that can be done through this MSP. Our scenario has two different chain codes, which are run on three separate channels. So the two chain codes are first chain code, like there will be two chain codes. Basically what it means, there will be two smart contracts. So first is the price agreement smart contract or chain code. So between the fisherman and the restaurant owner, and the second will be to transfer of the tuna. So that will be the second chain code. Okay, and there will be three different channels. So one for the price agreement between Sarah and Marianne, one for the price agreement between Sarah and Carl, and the one for the transfer of tuna. So each member of this network knows about each other and their identity. The channel provides privacy and confidentiality of the transactions. In a Hyperledger Fabric, MSPs allow for dynamic membership to add or remove members to maintain integrity and operation of the supply chain. So MSPs, they have a lot of power in the network, and you can basically define their uh, like what kind of transactions and all you want based on the privacy and confidentiality. And so I'll show you one image which will give you the clarity. So now, as you can see, so Sarah is the fisherman, then there's a regulator, then Carl and Marian. So this is a this first application is for say is for Mariam. The second is basically application is for Carl. So first they have decided the first smart contract or chain code is for deciding the price. Okay, and then is basically the second is to transfer the tuna. Similarly, this is between Sarah and Mariam. Then another is basically between Sarah and uh, Carl, is basically the price agreement, which was $80 per pound, and then transferring the tuna. So this is the complete process. So basically, first there will be three ledgers also. First is recording tuna shipments, then the price agreement between Sarah and Carl, and the price agreement between Sarah and Miriam, and then they will freeze that order. That's how a complete process will work. So if you guys have any query, you can just type it in the chat box. I'll answer that. It's a pretty simple use case on Hyperledger Fabric supply chain, which is one of the industry use case. And the same process can be used in various industries like diamond industry, vegetable, like anything. There is supply chain involved, and you can maintain private and confidential transactions. So people are already working in this domain, and there are a lot of other companies also working on in this particular supply chain use case, especially the diamond industry in Surat. So all of them, they have uh, been using Hyperledger Fabric uh, for this supply chain. If you guys have any question, you can just type it in the chat box. Otherwise, I'll move ahead. Okay, great. I'll just move ahead. So we saw, I'll just summarize once what we did. So we saw Hyperledger Fabric industry, fishing industry application. We defined our actors, then feature elements, then the cash, the process, the incentive, the sale, what will happen, how regulator will be there, then MSP, how they control that process, and then we saw how contracts are formed. So over here we have taken a very short and sweet example to understand the industry. I'll show you a lot of other examples as well. We'll see, we'll go through this website known as hyperledger.org, or there are a lot of industry use cases. So this is the Hyperledger website. So Hyperledger is one of the enterprise blockchains. So I'll just go into resources. And in resources, we'll go into publications. So here they have published a lot of key studies and industry, like say Honeywell Aerospace creates online parts marketplace with Hyperledger Fabric. Then even Walmart, they brought an unprecedented transparency to supply chain with Hyperledger Fabric. So all these use cases are there. I'll just show you, say we'll go into this Walmart use case. They have used Hyperledger Fabric. Yes, so I have one question from Tejaswa. So can you please re-explain the role of MSP and regulator? So MSP, basically they give you power, like it's like a referee in a football match. So they don't actually play the game, but they make sure that all the participants are following, all the basically players are following the rules and regulation of the game. And they can also remove any player if they want. They can show them yellow card or red card. So similarly, in Hyperledger Fabric, this MSPs are can be regulators. So they can, you know, they'll have a power to remove anyone from the network if they want. And so that's how it can be designed. So it's up to the how we design the network. That's what will work. This. Did I answer your question, Tejaswa? So regulator can be MSP. MSP is the core functionality of the Hyperledger Fabric. It can be anyone, like it can be any other company as well. So I'm just giving an example. So in this case, the MSP is regulator. So it can be anyone. Okay. So now in this Hyperledger, so this is the Walmart. So they have explained in a proper way. Like you can also see the complete case study. So all the details are there. I'll not go into this case study, but you guys can check it out, read it based on in which industry domain you are working on. And I just wanted to show you, like say, there are a lot of use cases over here in this resources, and go through them based on your industry and see the feasibility, and just search in the repository. You'll see able to find a lot of use cases. Okay. And no, I'll not be publishing my slide. Akshay asked me a question. I'll be sharing the YouTube. I'll upload the video on YouTube and you guys can check it out. Okay, so this is the website. I'll just share the link in the chat box as well. Okay, great. And this is about the Hyperledger. Okay, so now there's one more enterprise blockchain which is really, really famous, and it has been used as the R3 Corda. So R3 Corda is initially created for enterprise like financial sector, but now they are exploring various use cases in industries, and it is regulation compliant. I'll just open the R3 Corda website and I'll show you some applications on R3 Corda as well. So this is the R3 website. So R3 website, if you go on marketplace, Yes. So here they have this solutions directory. Okay, you can just go there and you'll be able to see all the applications which are built on R3 Corda. So these are all the applications which are built on the R3 Corda based on industry technology. You can also filter them out. Just say over on the left side, you can see there are different industries. So you can select like, you know, based on which industry you are working on, you can select that. And even you can check the development stage, like at production, you want only production related. So all this, they'll give you the list. So like procure, this is B2B procurement. It works on ERP, SAP ERP. There are a lot of use cases. So you guys can check it out this website. I'll share the link of this as well. And like when I ask you to guys to fill the form, some of you have asked some questions. So where is Indian government? I'll also share that, like NPCI is basically the UPI, like the Bheem and UPI app or Google Pay, GPay, whatever you use, they work on the background using UPI. So, and that is governed by NPCI. So NPCI, they have launched a platform, like they are working on the use case blockchain that is known as Vajra. So clearing house node, notary and participant node. So this is how the architecture of this platform, like the NPCI blockchain network, will look like. So all banks will be the participants, notary, and this will be managed by NPCI. So you can check it out. I'll share the link of this as well. So a lot of people, like they have also published the white paper on this part. So you guys can check it out. The link. So it is still at an ideation stage, but I think in this year or next year we'll see a lot of applications. And even someone told me that I think Aadhaar or no, not Aadhaar. I think these guys, NPCI guys, they are working with R3 Coda to create this blockchain network. It will be built on the top of blockchain network, R3 Coda blockchain network. So you can check it out this as well, and Hyperledger. So I've shared the links of both this. Now, so this session was a very quick session to give you a brief idea about what are the industry cases, and I'll just answer the questions which are asked when I in the form. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so one question is where blockchain is useful, where is the growth, and which sectors to go, and what is it? So basically, blockchain, if you can see, it has already disrupted the finance, like fintech industry, BFSI sector. And there's one more term known as DeFi, that is decentralized finance. So already around 1 million worth of tokens uh, are used by this DeFi, decentralized finance applications. And I am expecting like a lot of other companies will also start. So BFSI sector is going to get disrupted. It is already happening, and it will have a huge impact. Then the supply chain will be there. Supply chain industry, logistics industry. After that, I'll say healthcare, telecom, and other sectors will follow, because blockchain is a horizontal innovation. It is going to impact almost each and every industry, and even automotive to even blockchain based governance is there. So a lot of applications are there, so you need to figure out where it can be integrated in your particular industry. So you guys can check it out, these resources, and see if what it fits in your industry. And so I'll move to the next question. So where do we use blockchain currently? So blockchain can be used in a lot of spaces where there is a transaction and trust issues are there. So in that spaces, we can use a blockchain based network. So that's what blockchain, and we have already seen in the fishing industry how it is used, and you can guys can also explore. Even Walmart is using, IBM is using, and every company they have a small R&D department which is exploring how blockchain can be integrated in their own domain. And can you, the another question is, can you share some examples of Indian blockchain projects which are working? I've already shared this Vajra project details. You guys can check it out and see more. And the another question is, what are the implications from the recent Supreme Court hearing and RBI update on crypto status? So it's still unclear right now what will be, but government is definitely exploring this uh, use cases, say like how they can leverage the blockchain and in their own in various sectors, and it is already happening, and they have also formed committees and they are working on how to deploy it. Okay, so I'll see a lot of use cases in future, and I have shared the resources which I have with me. You guys can go through it. You guys, if you have any query, you can ask me right now. I'll answer that. You can type it in the chat box. Guys, any questions, or should I end the session? Also, uh, amazing. So I'll also upload this on YouTube and share the link with you, and you guys can check it out later. And my colleague Ekta will call you. Yes, I'll share this. We have a YouTube channel. I'll share the link with you. We also share the previous sessions we have recorded. You guys can go through them, and we also do conduct courses. So my colleague Ekta will call you to get a feedback and your interest and how can we help you. Okay, so please do. We already have your contact details and we'll contact you. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone, and have a great weekend ahead.